Ah yes, the Haunted Mansion, an absolute staple of the Disney parks, and, as I'm sure you've heard recently, it has gotten a few new changes at Disneyland, and I absolutely had to see these changes for myself. Not just on the inside, but also on the outside. So I booked a trip and went to Disneyland. I mean, look at this. Are you kidding me? And they have it open so you can just walk around and explore? Now, there were plenty of new details, tons of new things for me to look at in the queue, including this new guy who doesn't want to look at me for some reason. And for those who were worried about the mausoleums when they were torn down with the initial demolition of the original queue, do not worry, they have returned, and might I say, they're even better now. Just look at these things. Now, we'll return to the exterior queue in a moment, but the real big change, the thing that everybody wanted to see, was inside. Not in the stretching room, but further on into the mansion.
As they appeared in their corruptible, mortal state. There's always my way. Delightfully unlivable here in this ghostly retreat. Every room has wall-to-wall creeps and hot
Wow,
and
look at that, a beautiful chair. That's all you really need there if you think about it. Just that chair. That chair is enough.
listen.
And it was nearing the end of the Great Hall scene when I started to hear the rhythmic heartbeat of the bride, but there was something missing. Something was gone, and this isn't actually necessarily a bad thing. The attic scene was to follow, and I was so, so excited. Yeah, you know, the ride stopped for a little while. I got stuck in front of the Hatbox Ghost. He's a lovely guy. It's a really good spot to get stuck in front of. I would have rather gotten stuck in front of the new bride, but that's neither here nor there. The new bride has made her way to the mansion at Disneyland, and I finally got to see her for myself. And yeah, it's about what I thought. Everything is really, really good, except, of course, for her face, her PS2 face. There's also, for some reason, some lore drops in this new update to the ride that nobody told me about, both on the inside and on the outside. So I suppose we'll begin on the outside with the new extended queue for the Haunted Mansion. This, honestly, they popped off with it. This is probably the best outdoor queue at Disneyland. Plenty of shade, wonderful music, and tons of stuff to look at. Puns, even. They got puns. I just love how they keep this open. I don't know if they're supposed to. I don't know if I'm supposed to be back here, but it's not blocked off. That is what is underrated about this Haunted Mansion queue. The fact that I'm allowed to just sort of explore back here is super, super neat. Because look, there's no one back here. It's just me. The line is short enough, it doesn't need to go back into this garden. But I'm back here, and I'm having a wonderful time just existing back here. Let me explore queues, I guess, is what I'm saying. Kind of a weird request. Now, you can hear it in the background, but Disney also composed a brand new, that's right, a brand new version, a brand new composition of grim grinning ghosts just for this queue. How before it was either just the music of New Orleans Square, maybe some atmospheric sounds, or just no music at all. Now, like with Haunted Mansion Holiday in the holiday season, how they have the music box playing, this rendition of grim grinning ghosts plays throughout the queue. And it's not super loud, not super overbearing, and it's just spooky enough to get you ready for the attraction while not being, I guess, creepy in a way. It still fits with New Orleans Square outside, and it's absolutely genius. Now, for that little bit of a lore drop that nobody told me about for some reason, I had no idea this was in the queue until I ventured into the queue myself. When you pass the elevator/mausoleum on your left-hand side, look to the right-hand side, where the cast members are usually splitting the lines between the lightning lane and the standby, and you'll see a little operator's booth, but it's not just any operator's booth. I'm gonna call this the groundskeeper's booth, because you can see there a set of keys, a lantern, a hat. There's a scarf hanging up with the hat and a shovel on the other side of this booth, and a dog bowl with a bone next to it. But the dog bowl, more importantly here, folks, is labeled Bones, and I called it the groundskeeper's booth. I'm sure you know about the groundskeeper from the graveyard scene. So the groundskeeper, the Walt Disney World version pictured here because I got to stop in front of him one time for a very long time so you can get a good look at him, has always had this skinny little dog with him who is also very, very scared of the ghosts. And, you know, his sort of affectionate name has always sort of been Bones. The cast members have called him Bones, fans have called him Bones for a long time now. And just having this dog bowl out in front of the mansion now implies that, one, we are going through the mansion at sort of the same time as the groundskeeper, and two, the dog's name is Bones. He's a very good boy, even if he's a little scared, that's okay. And for some reason, this was not covered anywhere. The groundskeeper's booth wasn't covered or spoken about by anyone. It's like everyone was trying to keep a secret from me that they had added this. That maybe they thought it just wasn't important, although you know how I make my videos, right? Every little detail is important. So I'm just shocked that I got there and I saw this and I just didn't know it was there. It's amazing. Moving on now, my friends, to the attic scene on the inside of the mansion. If you've watched my videos in the past, you've heard my review on the new Disneyland Haunted Mansion Bride. I think she looks great. The new attic effect of the husbands disappearing altogether is pretty interesting. It makes me think that they might have been murdered, or they could have just disappeared in an accident. I do think, however, that they were still murdered. And Constance herself looks great, minus the face. The face looks a little bit old school, like a PS1, PS2 graphics, but the Pepper's ghost illusion with the wisps and how she sort of floats there and the cat next to her, Constance looks great. And yes, by the way, the bride may have changed, but the name has stayed the same, sort of. Her name appears on the frames of her wedding pictures, Constance and George, for example. However, we do not know whether her last name is still Hatchaway, but this new bride, her name is still absolutely 100%, canonically I would say in this case, Constance. It's just something I didn't realize up until now, how they didn't really change the actual pictures of Constance with her husbands. They just sort of edited them a little bit, made them a little bit different. But the names and the pictures, they're all still the same. So is this still George Hightower? Is he still dead? In my head, yes, Constance still did kill all of these men. However, the beauty of the Haunted Mansion, I think, from day one, from 1969 when it first opened, is that we can all make up our sort of own headcanon about what these characters do, their backstories, their names. So it's really whoever you want Constance to be, she can be. And I think that might be part of the reason why I love the new bride so much, is that she introduces another little mystery into the mansion. We were learning so much about the Haunted Mansion, partially, you know, through my videos, but also through novels and confirmed merchandise, cast members. We were learning so much about these characters with official backstories that it's nice to have a little bit of a refresh with this new bride. We know that she's Constance still, but we don't exactly know her backstory. She might not be the owner of this mansion, like my theory was previously that Constance Hatchaway was. This new Constance might just be a wandering spirit. And oh my goodness, speaking of wandering spirit, did you know that she follows us through the house? You see Constance more than once in this mansion. And oh man, she even appears at Walt Disney World's mansion. Yes, she's already in the Disney World mansion, sort of. I'm going to explain now. So with the new Constance, we see her holding a very specific item, a very specifically sculpted item. a candelabra. Now, this isn't just any old candelabra. This is a candelabra that is modeled after the candelabra in the endless hallway scene, all the way back at the very beginning of the mansion, implying that she is in that endless hallway. Constance is, but she hasn't materialized quite yet, keeping with the story of the mansion that the spirits don't materialize until we enter the Great Hall. Orlando. So she seems to be following us through the house, and the fact that this scene exists in the Orlando mansion right next to the Hatbox Ghost implies that Constance is also following us through the house. And if the rumors are to be believed, I was talking to some cast members, both in Orlando actually, and in Anaheim. I went to both recently. It's happening, folks. It's only a matter of time, and I'm talking like within the year when Walt Disney World will get the new Disneyland version of Constance. The Hatchaway will be no more. So, as I mentioned, technically, she does appear at Walt Disney World's mansion, just a little bit. Not really, but, kind of. But that and the attic scene are not the only times we see new Constance. We see her one more time at the end of the attraction, at the very end of the graveyard scene. You know this Grim Reaper looking guy who's hiding in the mausoleum? He's pretty spooky. I actually really, really like him. Well, he's dead. Or I guess he's moved on to heaven or hell because he no longer exists at the Disneyland mansion and has been replaced, my friends, by, guess, I'm going to give you a second. That's right, a candelabra. The same candelabra from the endless hallway and the same candelabra that Constance is holding in the new attic scene, implying that we don't only see new Constance during the endless hallway scene and the attic scene, but she also might be following us home. And that, my friends, serves as a perfect sort of transition, a sort of segue to the new Hitchhiking Ghost effect. I do want to say, real quick before I move on to that though, that the new bride is a great addition. And although I miss that little Grim Reaper guy, I do like all of the new story threads being woven throughout the mansion, extending even to somewhere beyond the new gift shop, which we will talk about later. But now, moving on to the Hitchhiking Ghosts. The animatronics themselves, the first three that you see, are the same. They have not changed at all, which I do like. Disney World, if you don't know, has slightly different, newer molded animatronics. They're the same characters, but their molds are a little bit different. The ones at Disneyland are the classics. However, when you move on to the scene where the ghosts are following you home, the physical figures on the other side of the wall have been replaced by a screen. And I've talked about this before also in multiple videos, but I think it looks great. It's a very high quality, well-lit screen that looks insanely better than Walt Disney World's version of the screen effect. And now that I'm watching this back during editing, that sort of flickering that you're seeing with the ghosts on the screens is only visible on recorded footage for some reason. Rest assured, take comfort in the fact that knowing that that is not present when you're actually on the ride. It doesn't take you out at all. Even though it's a screen, it is meant to sort of echo or copy the classic figures on the other side of the wall. Now that may have you asking, why change it at all if you're going to just do the same thing but with a screen? And apparently I had heard from one of my friends who works at the mansion that the room that used to house those rotating figures of Phineas, Ezra, and Gus is now being occupied by the ADA accessible exit to the attraction, the giant sort of mausoleum that you see in the queue. That's the exit for ADA people who need extra assistance getting out. And yes, it is all themed. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So there is a reason why the figures were replaced for a screen, and I don't mind the screen. I am sad to see the figures go, but the screen looks great. And lastly, before we move on to Somewhere Beyond, I actually got the honor to exit out of the ADA exit for the Haunted Mansion. I got to see all of this new theming, and it looks so good. I was alone by myself in the hallway down there, but I got to see how well themed this hallway is. It definitely is sort of less themed than, say, the Changing Portrait hallway, but it gives guests who need to exit out of the ride a different way, a themed exit for the ride, and I think that's really cool and really important. The thunder effects are going in the hallway. There are screen-use props from the new Haunted Mansion movie, and on the elevator on the way out back up to New Orleans Square, you get a little Easter egg, which I will show in a moment, but just take a second, take this all in. This hallway is so well done. It's, I would argue, maybe a little bit better than Walt Disney World's. I think it needs to be a little bit grimier, maybe a little tiny bit grungier, and it's very brightly lit, unlike the Changing Portrait hallway, which also makes sense if you need extra assistance. That's totally fine, but just look at this. This place is amazing. It is from here where we enter another new room, and my friends, we take a trip on the Haunted Mansion elevator. It's way cooler than it sounds. It smells new in here. It smells like brand new hotel.
Hurry back.
No.
Hurry back.
Stop.
Be sure to bring your death certificate.
Stop. This way. Where do I even start with that? Where do I even start with that? I got to go and see this creepy elevator and this creepy hallway, and the new bride, and the new hitchhiking ghosts, which are a lot better than I thought they would be. Everything about that was great, but there is one more thing we have to check out before I start gushing to you even more, and that's the gift shop. But I mean, come on, look at that. I think I said I was gonna look at the gift shop. I think I'm gonna ride again. Forgive me, but I'm gonna ride again. I am a happy mansion fan right now. Extremely happy. Whoa, this looks fantastic. I am not, can you tell I don't know what to say? I'm in heaven right now, I'm in heaven. All right, I've got my beignets, I got my nice coffee here. We're gonna go take a look at Regions Beyond. I cannot get the name for this dang gift shop right. Over by the Haunted Mansion. Oh, there's Tiana's. Standby seems to have filled up quite a bit. However, over here on the right-hand side is Somewhere Beyond. Somewhere Beyond with some walls up in front of it because, of course, not. So I guess I can't make a judgment as to what I think of the outside because I can't really see the outside, although it looks fine from here. I'm sure toward the bottom it looks a little weirder. Let's go inside. This looks nice. I love all the trinkets, although like the weathering. This looks good. I'm not sure what people are complaining about here. Again, it might just be like the shape of the building. And going inside. Whoa. This is awesome. Okay, no, this place is great. This place is so cool. And of course you got the crystal wall there. It's got an L on there too. Leota Tombs, of course. Madame Leota.
Yeah, you have the ones from.
The weathering on the wood in here is so impressive. It's old and clean and fancy, but also sort of busy at the same time.
Actually, like, perfect.
So, some thoughts and immediate observations on the inside of Somewhere Beyond. Great. Not really a ton of notes. The weathering on the wood, like I said in the video, looks great. The crystal ball is awesome. And I've heard that chandelier, the little lamp above the crystal ball, was even used in the 1969 mansion in Madame Leota's parlor. If that's true, that's awesome. The outside, however, I've seen it now for myself. And while there are spots that look good, like the spot that's facing the mansion, it really messes with the forced perspective of the mansion. I know people think it looks dumb. I think it looks fine. I don't know if it looks great or anything, but I think the forced perspective, the size of the gift shop, really messes with the forced perspective of the mansion as you're walking toward the mansion from Bayou Country specifically. I don't think that's something they really took into consideration, which is really sad. However, they knew I was visiting, they knew I was coming to town, so they put the walls up in front of the gift shop. So I can't see the whole thing for myself. I don't think the outside is the worst thing ever that Disney's done. Communicore Hall at Epcot, before the Broadway thing, I gotta say the Broadway thing really brought it to life, but Communicore Hall was far, far worse than this, but I do think that it needs some work, and like I said, the forced perspective is the part that really, really bothers me. But everyone, there you have it. Some, not all, but some of my thoughts on the new Haunted Mansion. I gotta get a lore video going here. I know I've made a lot of videos about the new Haunted Mansion recently, and rest assured, this is going to be the last one with my reactions. Now I'm going to be analyzing the new bride, her storyline, and maybe even some new lore that I found in the extended Haunted Mansion queue. I can't wait for you all to see it. Everybody, thank you all so much for being patient for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to go to the end card now, and I'll let Little Yoda take it from here. Little Yoda, hello? Brand new hotel.
Hurry back.
No.
Hurry back. Be sure to bring your death certificate.
Stop. Hey there, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Like I said, thank you for being patient with me. If you can't tell by the sound of my voice halfway through the video, I got a little sick at Disneyland. I'm at home now, though, resting, recovering, but I did want to get this video out. So I hope you forgive me for no face cam or anything this time, but I did still have fun making this as a little activity for me to do. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. A very special thank you, as always, to all of my supporters over at patreon.com/offhanddisney. They get early access to videos and exclusive access to some Patreon videos I'm working on right now. So if you want to join their ranks, even just $1 a month will get you access. However, if you'd rather just follow me for free, not have to pay any money, you can follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I am at Offhand Disney on all of those social media platforms, just to make it a bit easier for you to find me. However, everybody, that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Hurry back. Hurry back. I'm still a little sick.